Discover the incredible secret to transform your life, 30 days to never sit idle again. Jamie stared at the dog-eared self-help book, its title dancing in front of her eyes like a shiny beacon of hope. 30 days. The promise of change felt intoxicating. But as the worn pages whispered the secrets of transformation, Jamie felt a mix of anticipation and disbelief. Could she really turn her life around, escape the cycle of exhaustion that had trapped her for so long? The early morning sun spilled through the window, illuminating the breakfast table where her two kids, Alex and Mia, were already gearing up for another day. At 35, Jamie was a single mother clinging to dreams buried under mountains of bills and the relentless demands of everyday life. She rushed through breakfast, flipping pancakes and pouring orange juice, her heart heavy with the weight of her unfulfilled aspirations. Through the window, she could see townsfolk gathering in front of the county hall, buzz about the annual Maplewood Fair hanging in the air like the sweet scent of cotton candy. But before life could fade into another ordinary day, Alex burst into the room, his face alight with excitement. "Mom! I want to dance in the talent show." His words hit her like a wave, stirring something deep within, a flicker of hope that had long faded. The memory of her own youthful dance dreams flooded back, wrapped in laughter and joy. What happened to those days? Suddenly, she felt a mix of pride and fear. Gosh, could they see a glimmer of their past hopes in each other? That day at work, every pour of coffee and every plate of eggs felt heavier than ever. What about the diner? What about the kids? Echoed in her mind, warnings from family and friends. Their disapproval slammed against her dreams, but there was something about Alex's unwavering determination that fueled her spirit. In a moment of quiet during her lunch break, Jamie's fingers traced the spine of the self-help book. With a deep breath, she committed herself to 30 days of action, something, anything, to make things better. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Days throbbed on like a relentless heartbeat, with Jamie slipping into a routine of practice. She choreographed dance moves with Alex, giggling through the awkward steps as she let herself dream. But that flurry of joy crashed when a mishap at the diner left her mortified in front of customers. The laughter she'd once loved rang out, but now it felt laced with judgment. In a town where she yearned for acceptance, she felt stripped bare. As the talent show loomed, the knot in her stomach tightened. Would she muster the strength to face the spotlight? This wasn't just Alex's moment, it was hers too, their chance to redefine their lives. But with every glance from her family showing doubt, and the community's whispers growing louder, Jamie braced for a confrontation with the demons of doubt. Could she truly rise above the pressures and reclaim her dreams? The days flew by, each one tinged with excitement but also a growing weight of apprehension. Jamie's heart raced whenever she thought about the talent show. Alex poured his energy into dancing, his spirit infectious, and it gave her a defibrillation of sorts, shocking her back into a world she had almost forgotten, one filled with rhythm and joy. Yet, doubt lingered in the corners of her mind, whispering harsh reminders of past failures. One particular evening, as they practiced in the living room, Jamie watched Alex leap across the floor, his arms outstretched like he was touching the sky. She could feel it, the freedom, the joy, the connection. Mia, perched on the couch, clapped and cheered, her face lighting up like fireworks. In that moment, Jamie's heart swelled. She could be a part of this. They could shine together. But the fear of judgment still gripped her like a cold hand around her throat. "Mom, come on. You can't just stand there," Alex teased, pulling her from her thoughts. With an exaggerated sigh, Jamie joined him, stuttering through the choreography with laughter and clumsiness. She could feel the heaviness lifting slightly. Maybe this was possible after all. As the days turned into a blur of rehearsals and laughter, the Maplewood Fair arrived. The streets thrummed with energy, filled with the scent of popcorn and the sound of laughter. Colorful banners waved in the wind, creating a festive atmosphere that seemed to promise magic. But when Jamie arrived with her kids, the weight of the crowd pressed down on her. The proud faces of moms and dads beamed down the street, while whispers of gossip spiraled around her like angry bees. "Look, it's Jamie," she heard someone say, followed by chuckles. Memories of her mishap haunted her. She hesitated, her feet rooted in place as her heart raced against her ribcage. Was she really about to step on that stage? Could she really let her kids see her falter? "Mom, don't worry. You've got this," Alex exclaimed, tugging her hand. His belief was a lifebuoy, pulling her from the depths of uncertainty. The sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the stage where the talent show would soon unfold. Jamie caught glimpses of other performers warming up. Some were nervously rehearsing, while others radiated confidence. She felt her stomach twist violently, wishing she could disappear. But in that moment, Alex squeezed her hand, grounding her. "Just remember what we practiced." Mia cheered. Her innocent support filled Jamie with a profound warmth. Before she had time to think any further, Alex bounced toward the stage, his spirit almost tangible. With one foot in front of the other, Jamie followed, her palms slick with sweat. As they approached, the echoes of the crowd swayed like a living organism, alive with anticipation and judgment. Then, the spotlight turned hot against her skin. It wasn't just the stage. It was the moment she had been dreading. "What if I fail?" she thought wildly. But what if she didn't? They stood there, together, as the audience began to hush. Jamie breathed in deeply, pulling in courage and resolve. She took a step forward, her heart hammering, a question bubbling up: was this really the end of her dreams? With one last glance at her son, she knew. This was their moment. The music began, notes fluttering like butterflies. As the first few beats filled the air, Jamie dared to jump. The past blurred, the fear faded, and for the first time in years, she danced not just for Alex, but for herself. But then, the unthinkable happened. Just as the dance took flight, so did her nerves. Would she choke under pressure, or rise dramatically to the occasion? As her feet began to move in rhythm, Jamie felt the world around her fade. The stage lights were blinding, but they no longer felt oppressive. They felt like wings, lifting her spirit and filling her with a rare kind of exhilaration. Alex's enthusiasm was a spark, igniting something deep within her. But as she spun and twirled, a sudden freeze gripped her. She stumbled, nearly losing her balance. The laughter of the audience rippled through her, sinking like an anchor in her stomach. Her heart plummeted. Memories of past failures flashed before her eyes, stumbling and faltering at critical moments, feeling the weight of judgment. If this was going to happen, she needed to shake off those ghosts. "Mom, keep going," Alex shouted, his eyes wide with excitement. His face was bright and unyielding, a beacon of hope in the sea of doubt that threatened to drown her. Mia was cheering, her small hands clapping, her voice an uplifting melody amidst the ominous murmurs. With a deep breath and a spark of defiance, Jamie forced a smile. This is for them, she thought, determination flooding her veins. She remembered the joy of dancing with Alex in their living room, the warmth of family laughter echoing around them. They were in this together. The music swelled, and as the beat intensified, so did her courage. Jamie threw herself into every move, her doubts casting aside like autumn leaves. She poured everything into the dance, fueled by the love of her children, every twirl sending ripples of joy. With each beat, she felt lighter, unfurling like a flower blooming in spring. The audience remained captivated as they watched, their energy morphing from critical judgment to admiration. Jamie soared, the moment morphing into spectacular celebration. The heaviness in her heart lifted, replaced by a one-piercing realization: she belonged here right in this moment, surrounded by laughter, music, and the love of her children. As they approached the climax of their routine, Jamie exchanged a glance with Alex. There was no fear, only pure exhilaration, and she could see he felt it too. Then, unexpectedly, Alex took an exaggerated leap, and Jamie instinctively followed suit, hitting a spectacular landing that earned audible gasps from the crowd. It was magic. They had never looked more in sync, more alive, and then just as the performance reached its peak, time seemed to slow for just a heartbeat. The roars of the crowd faded into background murmurs, an intriguing silence enveloping them. In that singular moment, Jamie's heart soared. She was no longer the woman haunted by past mistakes. She was not just a mom, not just a dance partner, but a resilient spirit learning to reclaim her joys. The music drew to a close, they struck their final pose. The audience erupted with applause, a thunderous wave of encouragement washing over her. Jamie beamed, the pride swelling in her chest. But beneath that excitement lurked a new concern, a feeling more daunting than the performance itself. What if I have to do this again? Can I keep this going? That question haunted her, the thrill of the dance mingling with the anxiety of the future. Suddenly, the lights began to fade as the applause carried them off stage. It was a bittersweet mixture of triumph and fear for what came next. Jamie glanced at Alex, who beamed back at her, joy emanating from his very core. "Mom! Did you feel that? We were amazing." His voice rang out, infectious enthusiasm spilling into her heart. "Yes, we did," she replied, half laughing, half breathing. But beneath her smile lay the weight of the unknown. What did it mean to truly embrace this change? As they stepped backstage, still buzzing with adrenaline, the reality set in. She may have stepped onto that stage, but perhaps the hardest part was yet to come. How would she navigate the beautiful chaos of this newfound self, and could she really keep dancing through life's inevitable challenges? As the curtain dropped behind them, Jamie leaned against the cool, backstage wall, still riding the high of the performance. The sound of applause lingered in her ears, echoing like a heartbeat. She could hardly believe they had done it. The overwhelming response from the audience had turned her fears into a distant memory. But as the moment of celebration settled, the gravity of uncertainty returned, heavy on her chest. "What's next, Mom?" Alex asked, his excitement contagious, pulling her out of her thoughts. His eyes sparkled like the stage lights, full of dreams and possibilities. Mia was bouncing at Alex's side, still wrapped in the afterglow of their family moment. "I'm not sure," Jamie admitted, the simple truth spilling out before she could filter it. What was she really going to do? How could she harness this joy and energy for the days ahead? A flurry of voices filled the backstage area as other performers milled about, some still glowing from their performances, others already discussing their next steps. Jamie felt a pang of commitment, not just for herself, but for her children. She didn't want them to feel shackled by fear as she did. They deserved to know that moving forward meant risking the unknown, no matter how daunting. "Let's celebrate." "Ice cream?" Alex suggested, his enthusiasm a balm for her uncertainty. "Good idea." "A victory party," Mia added, her tiny fists punching the air in delight. As they walked through the crowded backstage, Jamie felt her smile broaden. It was something small, a simple outing, but it felt monumental. Could something as straightforward as ice cream lead to a bigger change in her life? They made their way to a nearby diner, laughter bubbling between them as they recounted their favorite parts of the performance. Jamie watched her children, their joy spilling over and infecting everyone around them. She realized how much she wanted to lead by example. They needed to know that it was okay to step into the spotlight, even if it meant risking a stumble. "What if I joined a dance class?" Jamie found herself saying, the thought bursting forth like a balloon inflated by her own joy. "Just for fun, you know." Alex looked up, eyes wide. "You should. It'll be awesome." Mia added, "Can I come too?" "Absolutely. We can make it a family thing," Jamie replied, her heart warming at the thought. There was something empowering about the idea blooming in her mind. It was a seed of opportunity. If she could embrace this change, so could they. Each person at the table had their path, and while they were all connected, everyone was carving out their own journey. But what if she needed more than just dance classes? What if she wanted to push boundaries beyond this? The thought darted through her mind like a quickly fading echo of doubt. The fear of failing again mingled with this newfound thrill of possibility. Was she really ready to step even further out of her comfort zone? As they finished their ice cream and headed back home, Jamie made a silent promise to herself. She would not just let this moment slip away. She had to step forward into the chaos she feared, transforming it into the beauty she craved. The warmth of a new beginning filled her, but there was also a whisper of uncertainty that lingered. What if she discovered a side of herself she wasn't prepared for? That question loomed, a shadow lurking behind the light of her joy. Jamie woke the next morning to the sound of sunlight streaming through the curtains, its warmth spilling into the room like a gentle embrace. She blinked awake, feeling the weight of her promise heavy yet exhilarating. Today marked a new chapter, a fresh start. The dance class idea hadn't evaporated overnight, it pulsed within her like a beating drum, growing louder with each moment that the kids shuffled into the kitchen, bleary-eyed but filled with the promise of the day. Jamie's heart swelled with affection. They were her reason for stepping into the unknown. "Morning, rock stars," she greeted, her voice brightening the room. "Mornings are rough," Alex mumbled between yawns, while Mia twirled around him, her wild energy contrasting with his sleepy demeanor. Breakfast was filled with lively chatter, the scent of pancakes filling the air as Jamie flipped them with a newfound purpose. "So, remember what we talked about last night? The dance class?" Her voice was laced with both excitement and apprehension, gauging their reactions. "Yes. Can we go today?" Mia's eyes danced, and Jamie laughed at her enthusiasm. "Let us finish breakfast first, and then we can check online," she promised, her own heart racing at the thought of taking that leap. After breakfast, they sprawled on the living room floor, laptops open, searching for dance classes. The color of Mia's dress and Alex's silly poses added a whirl of joy and chaos to the moment. Jamie felt a mixture of pride and exhilaration as she observed their laughter and camaraderie. Her children were thriving in this new chapter of their lives, and for the first time in a long while, she genuinely wanted to join them in this dance of transformation. Finally, Jamie found a studio nearby with classes starting that afternoon. There was an adult beginner class that promised a supportive atmosphere. "What do you think? Ready to do this with me?" she asked, heartbeat increasing as she directed the question to both kids. "I can't wait to see you dance, Mom," Alex exclaimed, flipping a pancake onto his plate. Mia did a little jig. Let us go, let us go." Her little feet pitter-pattered with excitement, matching Jamie's rising adrenaline. Jamie couldn't help but smile, her children's reactions fueled her determination. The hours leading up to the class felt like a mix of butterflies and deep breaths. Each minute was pregnant with possibility, but apprehension lurked beneath the surface. Who would be there? Would she truly fit into this world she had kept at arm's length for so long? She stole glances at herself in the mirror, practicing her smile, trying to banish the self-doubt creeping in. When they arrived at the studio, the vibrant music enveloped them as they stepped inside. The atmosphere buzzed with energy, dancers moving with freedom and joy. As she and the kids took their places among the other newcomers, Jamie felt a shift, the flickering nerves intertwined with a rush of anticipation. She had to remember that this was about more than just dancing. It was about reclaiming parts of herself she had long neglected. With every beat, Jamie tried to shake off the doubts that tangled around her feet like heavy chains. The instructor welcomed them with an easy smile, and the rhythm pulsed through her like a lifeline. As they began to move, Jamie surrendered to the music. Laughter burst from Alex and Mia, their delight washing over her, urging her forward, but just when she began to feel in sync, a momentary wobble in her foot snapped her back to reality. Was this all just a fantasy? Jamie fought the urge to retreat. That whisper of uncertainty nagged at her, pulling her back to harsher truths. Would she really be able to do this? Would she find joy among her fears? In that split second of doubt, as the music swelled around her, she faced her reflection in the mirror. The woman staring back was filled with both fear and hope. And though she was unsure, it was enough just to take one more step. The class continued, and Jamie found herself falling deeper into the rhythm. Each move felt like feathers brushing against her skin, lighter and more freeing than she had imagined. But as the music swirled around her, a question nagged at her mind. What would happen if the joy of this dance wasn't enough to drown out the fears she carried? That thought hung like a shadow, leaving her restless. What was she truly ready to face? As the music thumped around her, Jamie couldn't help but feel the pulse of life in every beat. With each move, the classroom faded and all that existed was her, Alex, and Mia. The instructor guided them through a series of steps, her voice clear and encouraging. Jamie felt herself loosening up, the tension in her shoulders beginning to melt away. Each turn and sway was not just a physical step, it was a step toward healing. Mia's giggles echoed behind her as she twirled like a whirlwind, a joyful spirit embodying every breath. Jamie caught Alex's eye. He was trying to replicate some of the dance moves, his own rhythm clumsy yet sincere. In that moment, a surge of warmth flooded through Jamie. This was what it meant to share in something beautiful and vulnerable together. But the flicker of self-doubt re-emerged, curling in her chest as she executed a hesitant spin. What if she looked foolish? What if the others laughed? Jamie stole a glance at her reflection again, as if searching for approval in that familiar face. Did she really belong here? The instructor was brilliant, dancers swirling gracefully around her. Yet, Jamie's heart was pounding with trepidation. She forced herself to inhale deeply, casting aside the hesitations. What had brought her here was far greater than the fear of judgment. It was the thought of being a role model, showing her children that it's never too late to reclaim lost joys. With renewed purpose, she leaned into the music again, feeling it stir something deep within. Then it happened. Mid-step, Jamie glanced at Alex, who mirrored her own concentrated expression. As if sensing her thoughts, he pointed excitedly, "Mom. You're doing it. You're really dancing." His voice broke through the veil of uncertainty, igniting a flicker of pride. That simple acknowledgement felt like a love letter. In that moment, Jamie realized this wasn't just about dancing. It was a powerful act of vulnerability, standing and moving against all odds. The class proceeded, and as they learned new combinations, the atmosphere wrapped them in an invisible cocoon. Despite her fading doubts, Jamie felt moments of freedom dance through her veins. Each time she moved, each step taken made her feel lighter. Not just physically, but emotionally. She was stretching in more ways than one. But the nagging question still loomed over her: would this newfound joy translate back into her daily life? Would she carry this spark out of the studio, or would it flicker and fade once reality set back in? As the class came to an end, Jamie found herself smiling genuinely at everyone around her. For a heartbeat, she felt part of something greater, a community that was accepting and uplifting. And as they gathered to share their thoughts, the vulnerability she had felt before transformed into strength. Walking hand in hand with Mia and Alex out of the studio, she embraced the rising hope that this was merely the beginning. She glanced down at Mia, whose innocent enthusiasm mirrored her own feelings. "Can we come back tomorrow?" Mia eagerly asked. "Absolutely," Jamie replied, feeling a genuine smile tug at her lips. "Maybe we'll try different styles. What do you think about hip-hop?" Alex laughed. "I'd rock that." Just as they turned to leave, Jamie felt someone tap her shoulder. She turned around to see the instructor approaching, her expression serious yet kind. "You did great today. You have a unique energy. I hope you'll consider joining the performance group next month. Your confidence may inspire others." Jamie's heart raced for a moment. It felt like the whole world paused around her. The proposition flew through her mind, lighting up every corner of her yearning spirit. But what would it mean to perform? As they walked home, her heart was a tempest of emotions, excitement wrapping around her like tendrils merging with fear. What if she chose to step even further out of her comfort zone? But then, another question emerged. The thought of who she might become if she said yes echoed inside her. What was she truly ready to face? The moment they stepped through the doorway into the cool evening air, Jamie felt a fresh wave of anxiety wash over her. It was one thing to dance in a studio, surrounded by laughter and encouragement. But performing? That was a whole new game. Her heart raced at the thought, alternating between exhilaration and dread. "Mom, do you think we can dance like that in front of other people?" Mia's wide eyes sparkled with excitement. She had been caught up in the infectious joy that danced around them, but Jamie felt a twinge of apprehension creeping in. "Maybe one day," Jamie replied, trying to sound convincing. "But we would need to practice a lot first." "Like every day?" Alex chimed in, his youthful enthusiasm radiating off him. "Something like that," Jamie whispered, knowing full well that time and energy were luxuries in her current life. As they walked, the weight of her decision loomed like a shadow. Why was it so easy for her children to embrace this adventure? They had no fear of judgment, no burden of what-ifs pulling them back. Perhaps they were lessons in courage for her, the very essence of freedom wrapped in their innocent spirits. Dinner came and went, the usual chaos of meal prep followed by laughter and a twinge of squabbling. Amid the background noise of clanging dishes, Jamie sat quietly, her thoughts drifting back to the studio. She could still feel the rhythm pulsing through her, the dance steps echoing in her mind like whispered promises. "Earth to Mom." Alex waved a hand in front of her, pulling her back into the moment. "What?" She blinked, realizing they were waiting for her response to something. Alex grinned, "We were just saying how much more fun it would be to learn a dance like New Age hip-hop, especially if we invited friends." "Yeah, maybe we can find someone to help us," Mia added, nodding enthusiastically. "Sounds fun," Jamie smiled, hiding the pit of panic that was starting to bubble again. After the kids were finally tucked into bed, Jamie sank onto the living room couch. The stillness of the house felt vast, enveloping her in silence. Yet the echoes of that day laughter, music, hope swirled around like a whirlwind. The flickering candle on the table cast warm shadows on her walls. Picking up her phone, she scrolled through her notifications, half dreaming of potential dance routines. She hesitated, her finger hovering over the message from the dance instructor. It was an invitation, a nudge to challenge herself further. And with it, a chance to inspire her children, to show them the beauty of vulnerability and self-expression. But was she ready to risk it all? What if she faltered in front of others? What would they see, a mother reclaiming lost joy or a woman who had lost her way? A knock on the door interrupted her thoughts. It was her neighbor, Lisa, holding a plate of cookies. "Just thought I'd share some love." She beamed. "Thanks, Lisa." Jamie smiled back, grateful yet slightly disoriented by the sudden intrusion. Lisa dropped the plate on the coffee table. "You've been looking a bit distant lately, Jamie. Everything okay with you?" Her expression carried genuine concern. "Yeah, just trying to figure some things out." "Dance, right?" Lisa asked, a knowing glint in her eye. "I remember how much you used to love it. Why not jump in and let the world see your magic?" The sincerity of her words wrapped around Jamie, igniting a small flame of resolve. Maybe this was her moment to take the leap. If only she knew what that leap would require of her. As Jamie looked out the window at the darkening sky, she felt something stirring. Was it hope? Fear? Or maybe both? What if she chose to leap? What if she found herself on that stage, millions of emotions swirling within her, and absolutely nothing else mattered? In that moment, the decision coiled tightly around her heart. Could she do it? Would she dare to be seen? Her breath caught in her throat as a realization washed over her. This was not just about dance. It was about her life and who she would ultimately become. Jamie sat on the couch, the flickering candlelight illuminating her face, casting an ethereal glow that mirrored the inner glow she yearned to ignite. The rhythmic chaos of the day settled into a quiet hum, making her feel moments of longing and fear twined tightly within her chest. Just then, she felt a sudden urge to leap into that world she'd hesitated to embrace, one filled with dance, joy, and the company of her children. Maybe I could, she mused aloud, her voice barely a whisper. The thought hung in the air, trembling with possibility. That night, sleep eluded her. Images of bright lights, her children's smiling faces, and the sound of music enveloped her like a warm blanket, yet she tossed and turned, heart thundering with uncertainty. What would it feel like to dance again? To truly express herself without walls or fear? The possibilities filled her with both excitement and trepidation. Morning arrived with a blush of sunlight sliding through the curtains, waking Jamie with thoughts of last night's resolution. Inspiration buzzed in her veins, but doubt still whispered in the back of her mind. She moved through the morning routine of breakfast, fruit slices for Alex, yogurt for Mia. Making pancakes took precedence over her thoughts of dance, but the rhythm of flipping batter echoed her internal beat, urging her toward the studio once more. After sending the kids off to school, Jamie stood before the mirror. She practiced a simple dance step, trying to recall the moves she had perfected in her earlier days. She felt awkward and stiff, her legs a bit wobbly, while memories of her past self flooded back. In her reflection, however, she saw something else, an echo. An echo of strength waiting to burst forth. With a breath of conviction, she grabbed her phone and opened the dance instructor's message. The invitation was bold, yet bursting with energy. She typed a response, her thumbs dancing across the screen. "I'd love to join an extra class. When do you have time?" Sending the message felt exhilarating, as if she had just released a bird from its cage. Almost immediately, a reply popped back, "Great. How about tomorrow evening? You'll love it. Tomorrow." The thought made her heart race in an entirely new way. She glanced at the clock, realizing hours had slipped by, yet it felt like moments stretched endlessly. That evening, Jamie gathered with her children around the dinner table, their laughter filling the air. Mia shared stories from school, her energy vibrant and infectious. Alex continued to vocalize his ideas about new hip-hop dances, each suggestion buzzing with inventive fervor. Watching them, Jamie felt warmth radiating from within. Her fears, while still present, began to gently ebb away in the currents of their enthusiasm. "Hey, what do you guys think about me learning some hip-hop too?" she ventured, a teasing smile playing on her lips. "We'd love that," Mia exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "I could teach you some moves," Alex added, puffing up with pride. A rush of laughter spilled across the table, and in that moment, Jamie felt a shift. Maybe she wasn't just a mom, she was something more. Someone brave enough to transform her dreams into reality, right alongside her children. As the sun dipped below the horizon, they cleared the table and Jamie glanced over at the window, where the evening sky was painted in hues of violet and gold. Tomorrow would unfold new challenges and uncertainties. Yet in her heart, she felt a burgeoning flame of determination flickering brightly. With a nervous flutter in her stomach, she let go of her reservations. Tomorrow would change everything. And as she closed her eyes that night, her last thought before drifting into sleep was simple yet powerful. For once, she wouldn't dance alone. Without knowing it, Jamie stood at the precipice of a journey that would lead her deeper into the world of dance and into herself. What awaited her on that path of discovery? Would she find the magic she feared? Jamie woke up to a cascade of soft light filtering through her bedroom window. The day she'd waited for had finally arrived. As she shook off sleep, anticipation coursed through her, igniting a spark of energy she hadn't felt in ages. She could already envision stepping into the studio, the music playing, and her body moving fluidly to the rhythm. After chores and sunlight-filled moments with her kids, the hours felt like they were slipping through her fingers. Jamie busied herself in the kitchen, whipping up their favorite nachos as if to distract herself from the clock ticking down to dance class. But the butterflies in her stomach kept reminding her of the adventure ahead. "Dinner's ready," she called out, her voice cutting through her swirling thoughts. Mia came rushing in, eyes wide with delight at the sight of cheesy goodness. Alex trailed behind, animatedly talking about his latest discovery in hip-hop moves. Jamie smiled, engaging in their playful banter, but part of her mind flickered back to the studio. Would she be good enough? Would anyone notice her past, or more importantly, her absence from dance? After dinner, as she helped Mia with her homework, anxiety bubbled beneath the surface. The clock approached the hour, its ticking almost deafening. She took a deep breath, squeezing her fingers against the edge of the table, something to ground herself. "Mom, are you okay?" Mia looked up, concern etched on her face. "Yeah, sweetie. Just a little nervous," Jamie admitted, releasing a nervous chuckle. It felt foreign yet freeing to share her feelings, her children's innocence making the heaviness lift. "You'll be amazing. Just like you were before." Alex chimed in, his faith in her igniting the flicker of belief in her heart. As she prepared to leave, Jamie studied her reflection one more time. Her hair was pulled back, revealing eyes that radiated determination. It was now or never. She couldn't let fear shackle her from stepping into this new phase of her life. Arriving at the studio, the atmosphere buzzed with energy. The walls vibrated with beats that called to her soul. Each step she took felt lighter, as if the wooden floor beneath her had the power to lift her heart. "Jamie!" A bright voice interrupted her thoughts. Sarah, the instructor, appeared, radiating warmth. "So glad to see you here. Ready to have some fun?" Jamie nodded, swallowing the lump in her throat. As they began, her body initially resisted, feeling foreign in its movements, but gradually the music worked its magic. The room filled with laughter and chatter as the class progressed, people moving together, bodies flowing with a shared spirit. Jamie's doubts faded with each beat. She discovered herself in the rhythm, every hip-hop step carving pathways of joy. Noticing her, Sarah approached mid-class. "You're doing fantastic, by the way. Just let loose." "Thanks. It feels amazing." Jamie responded, her spirit swelling. As the lesson wrapped up, the high energy slowly transformed into a sense of nurturing calm. The dancers exchanged stories, and Jamie felt a connection grow among them. And just when she thought she had reached her limit, Sarah announced a showcase in a few weeks, inviting everyone to participate. The thrill of the moment hit Jamie like a wave of electricity. She hesitated, fear creeping back into her mind. Would she really put herself out there? The room buzzed with excitement as her classmates rallied around the idea. "What do you think?" Sarah asked, her eyes bright with encouragement. But Jamie felt frozen. The fear wrapped around her like a heavy cloak, making her heart race. She wasn't just afraid of failure, she was terrified of exposure. What if she didn't belong? As the class ended and goodbyes were shared, Jamie lingered by the door, weighing possibilities against fears. She could step into the shadows of doubt, or she could choose to stand in the spotlight, embracing who she was meant to be. What path would she take? Would she rise to the occasion, or shrink back into the familiar? She took a deep breath, the challenge ahead vivid in her mind. This was only the beginning of her journey, but could she truly step into the light? The day of the showcase arrived, and Jamie woke up with a flurry of butterflies in her stomach. The sun peeked through the curtains, illuminating her bedroom like a spotlight. Today, she would dance not just for herself but for her children, for everyone who had ever felt like giving up on their dreams. With every routine in her mind, Jamie slipped into her dance attire, its fabric holding a weight of hope and fear. She pictured Alex and Mia cheering her on, their smiles illuminating the way forward. In the kitchen, breakfast felt like a joyful rehearsal, laughter bubbling as they ate. "Mom, are you excited?" Mia asked, twirling her fork. "Absolutely." Jamie replied, excitement bubbling beneath the surface. After breakfast, they headed toward the studio, and each step felt heavy with anticipation. The streets were alive, marked by the day's festivities, with an undercurrent of rhythm that echoed in Jamie's heart. As they arrived at the venue, the dance studio buzzed with a contagion of energy, students warming up, laughter, and music all blending into a chorus of support. Alex and Mia's eyes sparkled with enthusiasm. "You've got this, Mom," they affirmed, voices bright with encouragement. Their belief was a lifeline, pulling her forward as she crossed the threshold. Inside the studio, Jamie felt the familiar energy wash over her. Other dancers moved with grace and confidence, and she could feel her nerves beginning to settle. She didn't have to be perfect, she just had to show up. As the performances began, Jamie watched one by one, feeling every heartbeat and each triumphant cheer in her core. But as her turn approached, doubt crept in like a dark cloud. She remembered all her stumbles, the moments that had left her feeling small and unworthy, but then, out of the corner of her eye, she caught sight of Alex swinging his arms wide in excitement, his face alive with pride. Mia was bouncing on her toes, her spirit infectious. Jamie took a deep breath. This is for them, she thought, determination flooding her veins. When it was finally her turn, Jamie stepped onto the stage, the light warming her like sunshine. The crowd hushed as she stood there, heart racing like a pounding drum. The music began, pulsing through her soul, shaking off the dust of doubt that had clung to her for too long. As she danced, she poured everything she had: fear, love, dreams into every movement. The memories of laughter with Alex and Mia flooded her, a whirlwind of joy propelling her through each twist and turn. The weight of her worries melted away, making space for elation to fill her heart. She leaped and twirled with wild abandon, feeling completely immersed in the moment. She was not just Jamie the mom, she was Jamie the dancer, reclaiming a piece of herself that had been lost. The crowd erupted with applause, their cheers washing over her like a warm embrace. As she struck her final pose, a radiant smile broke upon her face. In that moment, all doubts faded. She had danced through fear and emerged victorious. Backstage, her kids rushed toward her, joy radiating from their faces. "You were incredible, Mom. Amazing!" Alex shouted, beaming with pride. "I can't believe you did that," Mia exclaimed, wrapping her arms around Jamie's waist. Holding them tight, Jamie felt a sense of fulfillment that swelled in her heart. "We did this together," she whispered, tears of joy glistening in her eyes. In this moment, something shifted inside her. Stepping into the unknown had transformed not only her but her kids too. They had witnessed the beauty of daring to dream and love. They had seen their mother rise above the shadows of doubt and reclaim her voice. After the show, they celebrated with ice cream, laughter erupting with every silly scoop. While sharing stories of the event, Jamie made a silent promise. This was just the beginning of their journey together, a journey filled with dance, dreams, and the courage to embrace life in all its messy beauty. Ready for dance classes together next week? Jamie grinned, her heart pounding with excitement at the idea. Yes. Mia cheered. Alex raised his hand. Count me in. As they walked home, the bond between them felt more profound than ever. Each step carried them forward, holding on to the promise of possibility. Jamie glanced at her children, and for the first time in a long while, she felt truly alive. Embracing this journey of self-discovery had become more than just dancing. It was a chance to be vulnerable, to inspire, and to encourage her children to go after their dreams, no matter the challenges that lay ahead. As night fell, Jamie tucked her children into bed, reading them stories filled with magic and dreams. In the quiet of their home, she realized the true victory was not just in dancing on stage, it was in the everyday moments, the laughter, the connections, and the love they shared. The path ahead might be uncertain, but now she was ready. Ready to dance through life, together, and that was her greatest transformation of all. Now, if you felt this journey deeply and found inspiration in Jamie's story, this is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now to the channel, so you won't miss the next exclusive stories filled with transformation and hope. Leave a like right now to feed the algorithm and help spread positivity. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending, what inspired you the most. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this beautiful transformation.